We here at Angry Me Production want to thank our sponsor, Mobile Notary Mindy. She's certified with the National Notary Association. She's also bonded and E&O insured. She offers a wide range of services including wills, powers of attorney, medical documents, healthcare proxies, living wills, certification of trust, assignment of personal property, HIPAA waivers, advanced healthcare directives, and 99 verification. You can find her on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at Mobile Notary Mindy. You can also visit her webpage at TexasMobileNotaryMindy.com. That's TX, MobileNotaryMindy.com. Thank you so much, and enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen of all ages, boys and girls, thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Angry Me Production. We appreciate you coming in and letting us be a part of your lives, week in and week out. We hope to do our best to present you with something that your eardrums delight in. Whether you're looking at us on YouTube or Rumble, or listening to us on Spotify, Google, or Anchor, or any of the other podcast services that we are currently on or trying to get on, we thank you. And if you don't mind, at the end of every episode, stop by, leave us a comment, leave us a like. If it asks for 5 stars, we'll take 5 stars, even if you don't like us. 5 stars are what it's all about. With that being said, we hope you enjoy our attempt to make our advocation our vocation. Ladies and gentlemen, let the games begin.
You want to do the right thing, but the right thing is the wrong. And you know it. Today we go over Dads Killing Pedophiles. Welcome, Angry Faithful. Yes, today that title is right. I was actually going to do one specifically on Stephen Sandison, who I thought for the longest time was actually at the All Red unit here in around Wichita, Texas. It's actually in Iowa Park. It's only about 5 minutes away. But yeah, after just watching that video, which this is the video right here.
Plead to the second count of murder in the second degree. Guilty?
Yes, sir.
And doing so freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
Doing so because you are guilty?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you?
The reason I killed him was because he was a child molester.
But you did in fact kill him,
Oh, sure.
and you intended to kill him.
Oh, sure, yes. Well, if it's all right, I'd like to tell you where it started.
Go ahead.
All right, well, he was my bunkie, and I had found out that he was in prison for child molestation, a really bad case. So that night he was trying to justify why he did it, and I just told him to be quiet, and he would have to leave in the morning to find a new cell. But he continued to talk about it and try to justify it, so he was a little bit bigger than me, so I got down and I hit him in his face a few times, and when he fell, I wrapped a cord around his neck and I took his life.
And watching that video, I had a plethora of other videos. We'll quickly go over Stephen Sandison. Sandison. Real quick. And that was the guy in the video. He basically was sentenced to life imprisonment for murdering his girlfriend at the time in 1991. He's serving life without parole. He can't get out anytime soon, especially since the second murder case, which you saw in the video, that he said he was guilty of. He said he did it. What's weird about this, and I'll go over the article right now, it's taking in some people think Stephen D. Denson is a hero for killing his child molester's prison cellmate. Sandison said, but he wants the world to know that he isn't. It has been 2 months since Sandison, and this is back in 2015. It was actually in April 22nd, 2015, that this all portrayed. People think that I'm some kind of hero when I'm actually not. Since Sandison moments before Shingsong County Sangin. Stephen Hawking, help me out with this one. This is a weird one.
Saginaw
County Chief Circuit Judge Fred Burchard sentenced him to kill for killing Theodore Dyer in October of 2015 at the Shangshorn, October 2014, I guess it would be, in October at Shangshorn Correctional Facility in Freeland. Sandison said some people have criticized his actions as well. I just did what I thought was the best time I was given. Sandison continues, I've been getting these emails saying that, it's not my position to judge anybody. I want to make it quite clear that I didn't judge him. I know God is the only judge we have, and I wanted to set up the appointment. I'm trying to keep a somewhat composure of what he did was wrong. But like the one guy in Alaska that killed 3 pedophiles with a hammer, if nowadays it's getting quite, unless you're in like Florida, Texas, it's still getting those laws into for people that do pedophilia, a little bit harsher treatment for this time, and going for like the game show host, game show killer, who was a pedophile, and he got caught once, and he only got like a year and a half, and that was in the 1970s. Nowadays, they actually get a little bit harsher, but not, in my opinion, not harsh enough. The families and the people that these predators go after are literally, it's like an atomic bomb. Once they hit one person, it hits another person, it hits another person. I've said this multiple times, seeing cases like this. When you abuse someone and you become a predator towards somebody, they get damaged. And you're going to get damaged no matter what. The best course of action is through the legal system. Hopefully it pans out. Case in point, I had a chance to where I could do physical harm to somebody that murdered a 18-month-old child. I didn't do it. When everybody's screaming at you, that would have been okay. It wouldn't be okay with me. Theoretically, I would probably. It took a lot of effort within myself not to do, what I would feel is one of the right choices. I let the law take effect, and he got 14 years imprisonment for murdering a 18-month-old child. Now, my personal experience and everybody else's, all men say the same thing. I would have fucking killed him. I would have just killed him. But one, I don't like dick sandwiches. So there's that. But I didn't feel that course of action would have been beneficial since he was already being incarcerated. The likelihood of me actually being in prison for that, and luckily I did work as a correctional officer, and I did see what it is on the other side, and it's not pretty. Would it be a quick satisfaction? of doing that kind of thing? Yes, absolutely. It would be a quick satisfaction. But later down the road, I would have to look at my actions and see how much of a, because you actually see that yourself, that you are actually capable of being that monsters people are afraid of. And even though no one knows what you're going through, doesn't mean that you go through that yourself and you look at that self in the mirror. And that's where it came from. Can I look at myself in the mirror after doing that? I couldn't. I in my mind, I knew I couldn't, because sometimes eye for an eye doesn't really pan out for one person. It eats at you. Stuff like that will eat at you. But saying that, there are some people out there that it will not eat at them. And it's still, I mean, even Steven Sandison, felt remorse. He's, you might not see it in that video, but there's other videos of him doing interviews. He knew what he was doing, and he already has a punishment for murder, what he did. And he pretty much knew he was going to get the same thing. It's basically, it's like, you're just going to send me to my house for doing this. So I'm going to do it. Something simpler happened to our facility. And this happens a lot in other facilities for prisons. It happened in our facility. What had happened was same scenario almost, except the guy, he went into prison. The story, from what I've heard, I wish I could actually have hard evidence of what this actually occurred, but I can't really. It's just more or less hearsay from one what we'll call cards. It's different shifts. One card from another card. What had happened is this guy was sent to jail for tickets, and he ended up getting, his cellie was a pedophile. I don't know why they like to boast of what they did, but most people that are psychologically unhinged do the same thing. They like to boast of their stuff. The real Buffalo Bill did the same thing. We talked about that. He boasted, and someone ended up killing him. But this guy boasted of his pedophilia, and the guy ended up killing him. Instead of going to jail for just tickets, he went to jail. He went into prison for life imprisonment. He was at the Allred unit, and after a time, he was, honestly, the guy was a model inmate. And one day, luckily I was off shift. It wasn't even our card. They ended up, I ended up getting a call. I was like, hey, can you come into work for a couple of hours and we'll pay overtime? I was like, yeah, sure, I'll come into work. No big deal. Went to work. Overtime. I was like, what's going on? It was like, well, we have to just stay in this block and do your job. Okay, no problem. Well, what had happened was, it was the 10:30 sorry if I can get this right. It was 10:30 last count. They did the count. Apparently his cellie was a pedophile, which he would murdered a pedophile from being in prison. And he ended up murdering this other pedophile because he was boasting of what he did to children. Usually they are sent to a different part of the farm, which we call the jail. And they are literally protective custody. A lot of jails and prisons have protective custody where the individuals are not likely to survive prison or finish their sentence alive. Mostly are child molesters. This guy ended up killing his cellie, goes into for breakfast, which is usually around about 3 o'clock in the morning. Then he ended up going up to the front desk after he ate. Says, "Hey, I just killed my cellie. You might want to get rid of the body. It's starting to stink." I go in probably around about 4 o'clock in the morning. I get my gear on. It doesn't take that much. It's just going into, because you have to get searched before you go into work. Since I only knew it was only doing like 2 hours, I popped some quick gear. So I was just wearing whatever and had everything in my car, and I went back home. But yeah, he murdered his cellie. Same thing happened. From what I gathered from the information from the other officers, because they had to take 2 people away. They were sick. They went to work, and they what we call pistol whipping the count. It happens. And he stayed out through the whole night, dead, until like 3 o'clock in the morning. And then they brought the guy back, re-arrested, retried, resentenced. Same thing happened. Another one, I can't get you. There's plenty. I just won't put it up there because it's more violence, and I don't want to get it taken down. But one in the 80s was guy was in the airport getting shipped to another place. Father goes in, shoots him alive on national TV. What he did was undisputably wrong. Moral standard, society, was it wrong? Yes. But it was a pedophile. I'm sorry. In my opinion, this is my opinion. You can go at me as much as you want, but people that are predatory, kids, rapists, people like that, they should be dealt with accordingly. A lot of the psychopaths that I see or read on Psychos and Sociopaths, they're predators. They should be taken out. Best line I ever heard, and I love using it, and a lot of people just, roll their eyes when I say it, but it was a Joker comic book. Jim Gordon, it was more or less a story of Jim Gordon, him trying to track down the Joker. But he talked to his no, it wasn't his captain. It was his partner that was retiring in Chicago. And his partner said, "I faced real evil. Whenever you face real evil, understand, do only one thing. Aim for the head." Is it wrong for me to think that way? Yeah. Some people might think that. But in the hearts of hearts, I'm sorry. Laws of the jungle apply here. That means if you're trying to take care and protect your children, some people call it sheepdogging. Some people call it, being a man. Some people call it misogynistic, toxic masculinity. But that's in our DNA. That is literally in our DNA to protect people. But when you have it to where you're feeding off of negative things like rape, which if this gets canceled because of that, I don't care, because rape is wrong. If you can't have something that is supposed to be beautiful and meaning towards the other person, then you're wrong. And you should be put down like a dog. So, like I said, my opinion. A lot of people disagree, and a lot of people will agree. And what is happening nowadays is kind of scary because just recently, 2 months ago, the California Senate decided to make it easier to be a pedophile in California. I'll bring up that. I don't know if I can find it. Hopefully I can. But I can't find it. Oh well. I had to. But they had basically a law that they were enacting to protect pedophilia, which it took them about 2 weeks to reverse that because people went out, normal people, and yes, California is very, very, very liberal, but there's people out there that said no, and this shouldn't be a right, left, conservative, whatever you want to call it. This shouldn't be politicized. It should be, we need to take care of our kids in a way to where they grow up healthy and they can make their own decisions the way they want to after they're 18. Because of that, people think that predators they should be protected. No, they actually, I found out they actually have like a kind of a town that's a sex offender town. I guess you more or less call it. It's in Florida. Oh God, I mean, I'm really curious about that one. And yes, this would be wrong for me to say this, but it would be a great hunting ground if you like to go after the most dangerous game, humans. But that's a joke. Miracle Village, that's what it's called. I knew it was something weird, but its population is 80% of sex offenders, including pedophiles. It's near Lake Okeechobee. I am curious if my FBI people that are watching me right now anyways, let me see here. The village where half the population are sex offenders, life inside a community of sex offenders, has 150 registered sex offenders in that town since 2014. Miracle Village or City of Refuge. Florida Heights Community dubbed the Miracle Village. Now, 2018, it's 200 people, bizarre community, and okay, this is so weird. See, I only did 5 years in prison. Man, who says thank you? Cause drugs, okay, and they are not living like really great lives. I'm looking at some of the photos of this town, and the town is almost one fucking bitch, but it is. They're living in a not great place. I mean, it looks like Section 8 housing, a really bad Section 8 housing. So they have the Marshall Project. That's where I'm getting all the photos and everything. It just looks like it's just horrible. But This is where, I mean, there's actually been like a couple of videos that have been ended up watching on TikTok and YouTube about why pedophiles are trying to become one with the LGBTQ plus organization or community, and it's because in that small community, and there's lots of people that are in that community are going away from that community. They're still gay, they're still homosexuals, whatever, but they're going against the ideology of that group because of their grooming kids. And there are people, and like I said, it doesn't matter your political view. It shouldn't be political to put people that are predators towards children and other facets. If you're a predator, you shouldn't be in our society. You should be shunned away. I mean, that one Russian suicide. I'm laughing because what the thing says, it says Russian father finds that the pedophile shot himself 15 times and stabbed himself and kicked himself 100 times and committed suicide. We all know that couldn't happen theoretically, but I believe it happened because he committed suicide. If it's on the news and the propaganda, it's true. But in all reality, in my beliefs, I think it's right. I mean, those types of people should be shunned and pushed away and not like welcomed with open arms. Oh, they're mentally disturbed. Yes, and there's no fixing them. There isn't. There's many psychological profiles done on these people, and they say that no matter what, for whatever reason, they had lied to themselves that this is right and this is a perfectly normal thing to do, and it's not. You can't get away from it, and these people should be shunned from our society. And there might be people out there that think I'm being quite harsh. I'm like, I'm not being harsh. I'm being realistic. I'm sorry. It is what it is. But this is going to be a short episode. Next week, going on this kind of topic, next week I'm going to do Jeffrey Epstein. We're going over these topics because one, me and my cohorts, Chris, Jaka, and Johnny Skelton, believe in the same thing. We do not believe that pedophilia is a good thing and should be around. Chris has said it. I've said it. Johnny's said it. Anybody that's been on this podcast has always said it, that those types of things shouldn't be around in our society. And I guess I'm kind of wanting to go on record on that kind of weird shit. But thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Take it away. It is. Comment if you hate me. I don't care. Later.